So according to the National Institutes of Health, they say that between 42 to 80% of people could be vitamin D deficient. You really want to pay attention to this because vitamin D deficiency is shown in the research to be linked to cardiovascular disease, to cancer, and to low immunity. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Wendy Myers, founder of MyersDetox.com. And in this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 symptoms of vitamin D deficiency, and I'm also going to tell you what to do about it and how to take vitamin D. And the answers may surprise you. So why is vitamin D important? Well, vitamin D protects your cells from oxidative damage, especially your cell membranes. It's also really important in boosting immunity. It's a crucial component to keep your immunity very, very strong. Vitamin D is also crucial for healthy bones, but it doesn't end there. Vitamin D is very protective to neurological health, and I think vitamin D deficiency is playing a role in the increase in neurological diseases. There are a lot of conditions that also result from low vitamin D, and this is no joke. It includes osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, multiple sclerosis, including low immunity as well. So getting enough vitamin D in your diet through supplementation and with sun exposure is really important. You need to make this a part of your daily health regimen, but it's also really critical to know what the signs are of low vitamin D. So small amounts of vitamin D can be found in some foods, but you can't get the vitamin D that you require every day from food alone. The best way to get vitamin D is from UV light, from getting sunlight every single day. So you need about 15 to 20 minutes a day. It needs to be not through a window. It needs direct sun exposure on your skin. And it's better to get like morning sun or midday sun, but the midday sun is the strongest. And if you're going like more towards the late afternoon, you're gonna need more than 15 to 20 minutes. So let's go through some of the 5 signs of vitamin D deficiency. So number 1 is fatigue. So one of the most important roles that vitamin D plays is in mitochondrial health. So your mitochondria are your little cells, powerhouses that make your body's energy. And so vitamin D is one of the cofactors that helps to produce energy, or ATP, which is the energy currency of the cells. So low vitamin D levels will mean that energy production will decrease and you'll suffer fatigue as a result of that. Low vitamin D is also correlated with poor sleep. So if you don't get enough sleep, you're also going to have poor energy levels. So number 2 is bone loss. So when you think of osteoporosis or low bone density, you probably think of calcium first. But in reality, people can take all the calcium they want, but they need vitamin D to absorb calcium from the gut and then help to transport that into the bones. If you don't take vitamin D with calcium, what ends up happening is you can get calcium depositing into your soft tissue and get calcifications in your tissues, your joints, in your arteries. That's the last thing that you want. You have to take calcium with vitamin D. So number 3 is weakened immunity. So vitamin D plays a crucial role in your immune system functioning, and low vitamin D levels are correlated with low immune functioning. And our immune cells have lots of vitamin D receptors, but they can also synthesize vitamin D themselves, but not enough to give us what we need. So some of the signs of a weakened immunity are that you get a cold every season, you seem to just catch every bug that comes around, you seem to get lots of skin infections, maybe you have a chronic infection like Lyme disease or other type of infection or chronic infections. These are signs of low immunity, and you may need to be working on boosting your vitamin D levels. So number 4 is depression. So interestingly, depression is regulated in part by our brain's hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus is an area of the brain responsible for hormonal regulation, emotional responses, appetite, and more. The research suggests that low vitamin D levels inhibit some of the hypothalamus's vital functions, explaining some of the connection, the link between depression and low vitamin D levels. And there's also studies that show that people with depression that supplement with vitamin D have fewer depression symptoms. So number 5 is muscle weakness or cramps. So there's research that shows that older adults or elderly people, they have more muscle weakness and muscle cramps when they have low vitamin D levels. On the other hand, getting enough vitamin D may be the ticket to reversing this process. Studies in animals show that taking vitamin D is protective against oxidative damage in muscle mitochondria. So remember, mitochondria play a vital role in muscle regeneration. So this would suggest that the antioxidant capacity of vitamin D may be essential for muscle growth and protection. So now let's talk about the most important question. How do you get enough vitamin D? So notice I didn't say how do you get more vitamin D in your diet. The problem with vitamin D in foods is there's not a lot of foods that contain vitamin D, but you can get it from fatty fish. You can get it from mushrooms. I love eating shiitake mushrooms. You can get it from cod liver oil, but you can't get the daily requirement that you need from food alone. A lot of people on top of this also have absorption issues. They may have genetic issues with not having enough vitamin D receptors, not being able to metabolize vitamin D. There's a lot of things working against vitamin D. So the best way to get vitamin D is through sunlight. And this is really important. I think a lot of people today just don't get enough sunlight. They spend a lot of time indoors. Sunlight is healthy for so many reasons. Sunlight boosts so many different parts of your immune system. It charges up your body's mitochondria. Your body works via light. Your circadian rhythms work by the cues, light cues that it's getting from your environment. And you also synthesize vitamin D in your skin from sunlight. So really important. Noonday sun is best, getting at least 15 to 20 minutes. If you're getting morning sun or afternoon sun, you may need to increase that to even up to an hour. And if you're African American or have very, very dark skin, you may need even more sunlight exposure than that per day. Another alternative is getting a sun lamp that has the full spectrum of UVA and UVB. That's also a way to get enough vitamin D as well. I'm not a huge fan of supplementation. I mean, there's a lot of medical doctors out there that will give their patients up to 10,000 IU per day, but increasing supplementation doesn't correlate with increased rates of vitamin D levels on functional medical tests. So I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have taken mega doses of vitamin D and and your numbers just aren't going up. And the reason is because it's just not that simple. The body is much more complex. If you do supplement with vitamin D, you have to take magnesium. Many times just having low magnesium levels will prevent you from absorbing the vitamin D that you're supplementing with. And so they say you need about 5,000 IU of vitamin D per day, but you've got to make sure you take the vitamin D with cofactors it needs. Magnesium, you need K2. You need vitamin K2 in its natural form. One of my favorite forms is megaquinone, so that includes vitamin K1 and vitamin K2. Typically, you can only get this in your diet from leafy greens and from raw dairy, which most people are not eating. So, like I said, if you take vitamin D, you want to take it with vitamin K and magnesium for the best results. So that's my video for today. I'm Dr. Wendy Myers. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I hope that answered some of your questions about how to get vitamin D in your diet and some of the symptoms of low vitamin D.